How's it going, everybody? We're back again. It's been a while. Sorry about that. But we are back. Today we're going through a video talking about Fighter. This is the class that I am most looking forward to. I am very interested in how it'll play. It's a class I'm planning on maining throughout all of Ashes. Every, uptime, downtime. Again, you test out the other classes, because of course you do, right? But Fighter's my boy. I love melee combat. I love big weapons. I love heavy armor. I love being up in, your face dealing damage. We played tank throughout all of Alpha 1. It's the closest thing I could get to Fighter. So let's get in. I want to talk about it. Go over what I think it could use and what it should have. Let's get right into it. So, getting into the Fighter talk. Again, what we have up on screen, we have the different archetypes, right? Got tank, mage, cleric, fighter, rogue, summoner, ranger, and bard. We've got options, we've got a ton. Remember, you take fighter as your primary archetype. Put it in with a secondary archetype, you get your main class, right? Fighter, fighter, weapon master, fighter, tank, dreadnought, so on. But we need a good ground basis, right? We need a spot to start. What do we think fighters should have for base skills? That's where it needs to start, right? Obviously, we're going to have a lot of passive skills. Those passive skills will most likely overlap with a lot of the other ones we have already. Of course, maybe health regen up, maybe some more additional max HP, stuff like that, really. I feel like that should be expected. Obviously, there should be most likely some specific ones, just like all the other classes had. But I'm talking more about the active skills for now. What does a fighter need? And when we talk about a fighter, what is a fighter? Fighter is, even in the little comments that they have here on the picture, it's an expert in physical combat. It's a master of many weapons. It's like the warrior strikes fear into the heart of his foes, right? We're talking ranged. We're talking melee. We're talking many, many different things here. But what does he need? What kind of active skills does this kind of character require to really make it work, make it pop, make all of, make the kit feel good to play? I've got a couple ideas. Again, we're going to be taking some things either from what they've shown us in the game already, or from just other games in general that have close types of characters. A lot of my comparisons are going to be taken from WoW, mainly because that's the game I've played a lot of. I played a lot of WoW, played a lot of Warrior, and it's kind of the closest thing we're going to have here for WoW, at least. So we're going to start with a skill that we know we're already going to have. So that Rush. Rush, we only know what the rank 1 is. We didn't know rank 2 or 3. Rush toward a target, and upon reaching the target, deal an amount of damage with a chance to knock the target down. So, we have a gap closer. It does damage, so damaging gap closer. Has a chance to CC. I wouldn't be surprised if once this is actually released, you might have to upgrade it to get the CC out of it. I'm not expecting it to start with it, but maybe? I would assume it would rush to the target, deal some damage, rank 1. Rank 2, maybe it would knock the target down. But they might even save that for rank 3, because that's when the tank got it. They got, their charge was rank 3, they had a knockdown effect on it. So maybe it does some additional damage on rank 2. Maybe it applies a bleed effect. I'm not quite sure where they're going to go with it. But from there, we can take this rush and, you know, apply, say, like mage. It's a teleport, just kind of like the tanks is, right? I would assume they wouldn't want it to be exactly like the tanks, but we could assume it's slightly similar. It's still kind of the same thing, right? So, good, easy skill. We already know we're going to get it. I think it fits. After this, oops, not the one I'm looking for. Mortal Strike. This, I think, would be an incredibly important skill for a fighter to have in their base kit. If you have seen any footage of any 1v1 combat in Alpha 1 at all, literally any of it, you will know that tanks are very tanky if they can have a healer on them, of course, and they have some good CC. Mages have good large AoE, like raid-wide damage, and mainly some really good burst. Now, clerics, literally unkillable if one, they know what they're speccing into, and two, they're geared. There is a 0% chance for a tank to beat a cleric in one-on-one combat in current, like in old Ashes 1. And here we see me fighting a cleric that I had met inside of the Alpha 1 demo. We played quite a bit together. Very cool dude. And watch the HP bars here. Well, you can see mine in the top left corner. You can see it's constantly dropping. You can see his top middle. All he's doing is healing. He has his hots up. I am keeping every debuff I can on him, every dot, every damage down. And our health continues decreasing. And even though we are outgearing him, we cannot do anything about it. And simply put, we lose outright. So, what does that mean? I mean, you know, tank can't kill a cleric. Is that okay? Yes. This game is not balanced around 1v1 content. Will there be 1v1 content? Yes. But is it okay that a tank can't kill a cleric? I think so. I do. Now, a fighter. I think a fighter should be able to take down most opponents if and only if they play correctly. Now, if a fighter is unga-bungaing, just, you know, smacking all of his buttons, do I think you should be able to take him down? Probably not. But give them some tools that they can take from either their weapon skills or from, you know, the base kit itself, and kind of give them an edge, give them a way to play around things, i.e. Mortal Strike. I think that could work. Mortal Strike gives a 40% reduced healing on the target for 10 seconds. That will be your burst window. You will need to know when to pop this, you will need to pop this, and you will need to slap out a ton of skills, deal a lot of damage, and then you can win. But you have to play smart. After this, hamstring. I don't think fighter needs a lot of CC, really. Let the tanks have it. That should be the tank's thing. They should have stuns. They should have knockdowns. They should have pulls. They should have aggro generation. They should have all of this stuff. That it's a tank. Tanks are big bulwarks. You don't knock them down easily. They're strong. And they should be hard to kill. Not impossible to kill. Fighters. You think damaging classes. Again, you can be a little tanky, but it's damaging. So, why would you want some CC? You got to keep up the damage somehow. So I think something kind of like hamstring, you know, hit him in melee combat, or maybe if you're an archer, hit him with, you know, knock an arrow and do it. You know, kind of a foot shot, kind of like we know the ranger has. That could maybe be on the a weapon skill, but just in general, hamstring. It's a little bit of CC, it's a snare, just slow. And it doesn't have to be 50% movement speed. It can be a lot less, maybe like a 20% movement speed decrease. I think it could help quite a bit, actually. And I think it would fit. That's the big thing. Now, this is a little bit of an off topic. Recklessness. As we see here, go berserk, increase your rage. We're not worrying about that. Granting your abilities 20% increased critical strike chance. That's the part I'm looking at. I like the idea of being able to get some kind of a buff, but take recklessness into account for the name itself. 20% increased critical strike chance, which is very strong, but maybe you take 10% more damage. Again, you need to play smart. This is an incredibly powerful ability. Play it, your cards at the wrong time, you're probably dead. That's on you, not the skill. I think that fits. Smart gameplay. Smart rotations. Something where you get some kind of upgrade, but you get a negative off of it. I think that would kind of fit the fighter aesthetic. But, next up, Shield Wall. Reduce all damage you take by 40% for 8 seconds. Now, do I think it needs to be that strong? Of course not. Why do I think it needs to be on this list? Generally, fighter will most likely be a melee class. Can it be a ranged class? Of course. They can use all the weapons. If you're a melee class, what do you need to do? You need to be in melee combat. So you need to get into melee combat. Right? So, I'm thinking more along the lines of reduce all damage by 20%, 5 seconds maybe. Something small, but maybe only against ranged attacks. It's like a arrow block or arrow snag, something along those lines. Something that is keeping projectiles from doing less to you while you are closing the gap. Again, we have rush, we have a gap closer. That doesn't mean you might be out of range and you might be getting hit anyway. It's just something of a little bit of a survivability to help you get in close. I think that fits in like base kit. I think anything stronger than maybe like a 10 to 20%, defense bonus is too strong to be on the main kit. Maybe put that on like specifically like sword and shield or something. But I think shield wall would fit pretty well. The last one I have here. Defensive stance. A defensive combat state that reduces all damage you take by 20% and all damage you deal by 10%. Lasts until canceled. This, I would say, goes in the same line of shield wall. Got a little bit of a defense upgrade. Tiny, not too big. But it's something. It's something to give you a little bit of extra, extra stats, extra defensiveness to live, to play around. And then, you turn it off. You only use that for a certain amount of time. And then you swap over to your recklessness burst window. It's about burst windows. It's about playing around your skills, how you're playing, your cooldowns, and playing smart. So that's what I kind of think would fit pretty well for actives. I think passives, everything they've shown up for other classes fits pretty well. Maybe they could have the, reduced damage from ranged attacks, maybe be a passive that they can take. Again, you have to pick to take it, but, maybe make it only like 10%, maybe 15%, something small, something that does not, last long. Maybe it only works for a short time, so, it's not on in melee combat the whole time. It's something. And then maybe also giving them a higher parry rate, because, they are weapon masters, right? These guys should be masterclass of their weapons. No one should be better than a fighter at using their weapons. Which draws us into my other point. I think fighters should have less active skills than any of the other classes. I'm going to stand by that point. Now, why? We saw we will be getting weapon skills, correct? Weapon skills means skills according to, what weapon you have. I think fighters should have more points in weapon skills than in their base skills. They should have more opportunities to use that because no one else should be as good as weapons as they are. And I think that's fine. It's a balance of losing and gaining, just like anything else should be. You take light armor, you get some more bonus damage maybe, but you lose out on defenses. Take heavy armor, maybe you're not getting as many defenses, as many offenses, but you're getting more HP. You're getting more, defensive stat. You're able to be more resistant to some stuns maybe. It's a trade-off. And I think that's an ample trade-off for fighter. More weapon skill points, more diversibility so you can work around stuff. So, maybe have some kind of armor end if you are using a great sword, something like that. Again, then you can specialize. I don't think any two fighters, if you are building your class by yourself, not going off a build, should build the same. They should have that diversity. They should be able to build different builds. Obviously, we might hit the Path of Exile point where everyone is going off builds they find online, and it is what it is, right? That's just how it works. You go for the best build, you want to win. You make the best build you can, you want to win. That's fine. But going off of it, if you put everyone in a separate room, there should be enough diversity where people can make their own builds. I felt like everything that we saw from level 1 to 15 in the alpha build, alpha 1, it really fit, right? I came up with a completely different mage build than 4 other people. Everyone had their own. I think that's good. I think fighters should double down on that aspect. People should be able to build their own styles and play those styles. If they do that, I think fighter will turn out pretty great. So, I'm hoping they go that route. But again, my opinion, everyone has their own. Well, I suppose that's that then, huh? Nice whole fighter video talking about some of the skills, some of the things I think the class should have, some of the things that I think could make the class fun. Just some thoughts. I like, taking the darts, tossing them against the wall sometimes. And if you guys want to as well, join me in that. Leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know what you think I am wrong about. Let me know what you think, maybe you agree on. Your thoughts, let me know. Game's not out yet. Giving, feedback, suggestions, all of this will help. And especially the feedback aspect once we hit Alpha 2. But until then, thank you all for hanging out. We'll be back. Another video actually shortly. And I hope to see you guys there. Until then, have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out. And, it's another video over there. Feel free. Pretty good. Recommend. Bye.